Okay, I think we are officially ready to start the show. Alright everybody, if you already know you guys are listening or the sound of my voice, you can go ahead and start checking everything on mytsports.net, folks. If you would like to catch the show live. I think we got all of the kinks worked out. Okay, now that it seems that we got everything in working order here, let's go ahead and get ready to start the show.
Okay. Big man, you want to hear some hot takes? Let's see how woke you are. You know something about podcasts? Hey, yo, dígame. You kidding me or what, man? I got these 3 drunk uncles with a sport podcast. They say they got fire takes, pure fuego. You find them wherever you listen to podcasts at. If it's what they say it is, you like and you subscribe. You listen, like, and subscribe, yeah. You know how to call into the show? Yeah, man, do the podbean app. You'll need headphones for Mike to call in. That's no problem, man. They'll also be at Sharky's, 8:07 p.m. on the first Wednesdays of the month. You may get some free Blue Chew. And they keep receipts or so. If anything happens in the sports world, MyT's gonna drop a tape faster than a rabbit gets fucked. There's only 3 things I have in this world. My word, my balls, and this podcast. And I don't break them for nobody. MyT Sports Season 7.
Interesting. Guess we're gonna try this again. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the MyT Sports Podcast. I am your host, the one and only Untitled Chapter. It is another En Fuego day in the hottest city in the world. It is officially January 19th, where they said we was gonna have highs of 70, lows of 64. Current temperature right now just happens to be a nice and lovely 68 degrees. Folks, if you're listening right now, we're having some audio issues, those we always do around this time. I ain't gonna lie. I don't even know how to fix some of this shit anymore, right? But it looks like things are coming in and out. So bear with me if you can hear this. We're gonna things are gonna be coming in and out. Look like the latency is just being a little bit choppy. Things are basically going on as normal when we do a podcast. And as you guys know, when you listen to the re-air of the podcast, we don't do any edits. We don't do any cutting of this. You get everything in one take and one take only. That's why they call me AKA the One Take Wonder, AKA the Chocolate Boy Wonder, AKA Brooklyn Buzzsaw, AKA Your Mad Podcaster himself. Folks, we got a bunch of stories to get into today, folks. We got Florida man out of control over here. We got the Knicks being... Actually, I got a question actually for you. You guys can maybe help answer me this. Are the Knicks poorly coached? That's something that I'm gonna have to clear up, folks. We got the Bulls player getting carried away. We got the Kings are back, folks. We have the injury report to go over. We have the first mock draft that just came out. Book goes off. Dak apologizes. We got Blue Chew. We got the birthday celebration. We have all that and more on the MyT Sports Podcast. And also, we got something to tease for you. We're trying to get. We're working on getting an interview on somebody very special in the Heat Nation, folks. All of that and more here on the MyT Sports Podcast. But guys, you guys already know what we do here, regardless of the time.
Take that, take that, take that.
And regardless of the weather,
you play to win the game. Hello?
it's always a good time to talk some sports. So, let's start talking. Woo! Back at it like a sports fanatic. MyT, let your shoulder lean, let your shoulder lean. Sports. Yeah, listen, something just keep going on. And it's weird. I'm telling you, this is so weird. This is so weird. As I'm watching the issues that I'm currently having with the podcast, all right? And the reason why I say this is so weird is that I literally took precautions against this. Where I thought that I wouldn't, but you know what though? This could be my fault. This could want to be my fault. I got a lot of things going on right now in the back. So we'll see. We'll see how much, like how much we do and how much we. So I said this is so weird. See, because it's coming in and out, and I can see that it's coming in and out. As I'm monitoring the feed. Am I on camera yet? Am I on camera yet? Let's go ahead and raise this motherfucking curtain up. Raise that shit the fuck up. As we work through our technical difficulties, don't worry, folks. We'll always get a dope podcast out there, and we'll always put something out on the website or anywhere that you can find podcasts at. Whether that's on Podbean, that's on TuneIn Radio, that's on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. It don't matter where you listen to your podcast. At the Mighty Sports Podcast is there. If you would like to catch the Mighty Sports Podcast live, you can always just do what you're doing kind of right now. If you can understand what you're doing right now. You can catch me on YouTube, Twitch. You can catch me on Podbean. You can catch me on the website, MyTsports.net, as well as M as in Mike, Y as in Yankee, T as in Tango, Sports.net. If you ever like to catch us live and in person, folks, next week we will be recording live from Sharkies. So you can go ahead and catch us next week as well as going to be, again, the first Wednesday of the month in February. And then again, 2 weeks after that. Folks, we got big things. Let's go ahead and get into the birthday party. Let's go ahead and lighten things up. Let's go ahead and get the mood right. Because right now, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little perturbed. I'm a little perturbed and I'm a little annoyed. And I hope it don't come across on the podcast. So you know what? Let's go. 'Cause yeah, it's your birthday. We said it's your birthday. Yeah, because it's your birthday, we sing happy birthday. Check it, yeah. Check it, yeah. So last week, all right, actually when Monday came around, I didn't really have any of the birthday celebration set up, right? Any people for the birthday celebration, and it really made me realize that I was forgetting a whole bunch of people. The only people I really gave a birthday shout out to was to my sister-in-law Tia, and then also to my brother Omar. And I realized I was forgetting a whole bunch of people. Like I was forgetting one of my homegirls, Jen Holder. I was forgetting one of my battle buddies, Justin Bartrug. I was forgetting another one of my friends, Nick Murray, folks. But also with a birthday today, we want to say happy birthday to Michael Pedroza. So everybody that I end up forgetting from over the weekend, and for the people I'm giving a shout out to today, so to Michael and to Nick and to Justin and to Jen, we hope you party hard. We hope you enjoy everything. Hope you remember nothing, but more importantly, you regret nothing. More importantly, we hope you will continue to stay MyT. And don't worry, Jen, I saw your birthday present. That's one of my homegirls, Jen, folks. Like I've been trying to get on the podcast forever. Because more importantly, what I really want to do is that. I have a reminder for talent. Wait, what's going on there? Somebody sent me a message. Trying to peep that message. What's going on, Izzy? My blunt never left me on red though. Facts, but does it burn on me? Does it burn out on me? Oh, nope. Nope. I'll put it out. Alright, right, folks. Let's go ahead. That's our birthday celebration for the day. Let's go ahead and get that birthday. Let's go ahead and get that birthday celebration and wind it down a little bit, folks. We didn't have a whole lot of birthdays to get into, just those few. But let's go ahead and get into our Knicks. So you can see I bust out the blue and orange mic for a reason, folks. Let's go ahead and get into that Knicks talk. Again, as you know, whether we win or we lose, whether it's in the light, whether it's in the dark, you understand? I walk my walk, and I talk my talk. Let's get into my Knicks talk. Currently, as it stands, the New York Knicks have a record of 22-23, folks. They currently right now are looking on the outside in if the playoffs were to start today. And it drives some questions that I ought to ask you in the beginning of the podcast. Are the Knicks being poorly coached? The last time the Knicks played, they played the Minnesota Timberwolves. That happened to be on Martin Luther King Day on the January 17th, or at least the observation day, right? Where they played the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they took a nice little embarrassing loss, 97-87, folks. And I know you said like 97-87, that doesn't look like so much of an embarrassing loss, but that game really wasn't as. Wait, whoa. My bad. 97-87 was not the Minnesota game. That was the Charlotte game. I was about to say, listen. Even in my head, I knew something was wrong. I'm like, wait a minute, 97-87. Wait a minute, that ain't right. The Knicks lost this game on a last minute shot by Carl Anthony Towns. New York lost this game 112-110 as they get on a 2-game winning streak. They just finished winning 3 games in a row, and now they're losing, and now they've lost 2 in a row. The New York Knicks, they would follow their very nauseating pattern. And that nauseating pattern that they portray is that it doesn't always look like they're showing effort, one, but also that nauseating pattern where they manage to go down by 20 points every single game. And don't forget, folks, if you would like to call into the podcast, you can call into the MyT hotline, actually the Blue Chew hotline, utilizing the Podbean app, folks. All you gotta do is download the Podbean app and then look for the Mighty Sports Podcast, and then you'll be able to call in through the Blue Chew Get In hotline that we utilize through the Podbean app. And also you'll be able to listen to the show live there as well too and interact. So the New York Knicks come back around, right? And, oh shit, is one of our peoples here? Oh shit, look like we got Chill Will up in the building. What's going on, Chill Will?
Good guy. T, what up, baby?
I'm good.
Good to hear from you, big dog, man.
What's that?
Man, I'm about to come down there, man. You better get your heads up, bro. I'm about to come down there, bro. I'm busting in the scene. I'm gonna sleep on your couch. Feet out on the motherfucking
Listen, you need to hurry up before I turn my spare bedroom into an office.
That's all right. I'll be on your office chair, shit. Give me a blow up couch. Give me a blow up bed.
Yeah, because I've been discussing that this week. I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking about turning the spare bedroom into an office/studio. I think it's just about that time. I think it's about that time. We got Chill Will into the building. Let's go ahead and get Chill Will properly introduced.
You drop takes, don't you? You drop takes, don't you? Sir, yes, sir! Well, if you're gonna drop takes, you might as well go ahead and drop them exhibitiously.
Cleveland! This is for you! Exhibitiously.
Yo, I'm telling you, B, it's the thing that makes the whole skit. Oh man. But you already know what's going on here. We start off the podcast saying we start off almost every other podcast, and that is complaining about these goddamn New York Knicks, folks.
Man, you need to talk about my Cavs.
I'm gonna get into these Cavs a little bit later because I mean the Cavs are impressive. Listen, I'll give you the opportunity to talk about the Cavs because the Cavs are currently sitting third in the East right now? Are they third?
Present. The Knicks this, the Knicks that. Then the Cavs, look up the Cavs. What? Present.
Listen, the Cavs isn't my responsibility to talk about. The Cavs are your responsibility to talk about, okay?
It's your responsibility when they pressing the Knicks, taking over the Knicks spot.
Oh, you mean the Knicks
y'all
spot?
like 4th or 5th or something?
That was last year. Yeah, we ended up in the 4th spot last year.
But this year y'all was in the playoff hunt for a little bit, wasn't y'all?
Well, I mean, we started off the season 5-1, and then since then, things have just been downhill. Like we've gone through every spot. Okay, we've gone through every spot between 1 and 11. I'm okay with RJ Barrett right now. To be honest with you,
But is he? Nah. Okay. Let me rephrase this question. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
In reference to what you drafted him at, what is this? His second year?
Third year now. Same year as John Morant and Zion.
Zion was hurt that first year, wasn't he?
Listen, same year as Zion and John Morant. But yes.
Yeah. Right. This is third year.
Third year. See, I don't count the first year though because they weren't being. He didn't. He was on a poorly coached team. And the dynamics. Cause see, I'm gonna tell you what ended up happening here, right?
So who was last year then?
Who was last year's draft? Let's see. It was this past year was on the Deuce Mc. Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin was after Zion?
It was the year after Zion. 'Cause remember, Obi Toppin, we drafted him with like the 10th or 7th pick or weird shit like that. Yeah. Because last year was his rookie season.
Man. And now it's the start of a new season. So it's the start of the third year, and Zion's still hurt. Yeah.
You know what? You're actually kind of leading me to a question that I'm actually curious from Knicks fans, right? And that is, are the Knicks being coached poorly? And I know it's a weird thing to ask when you finally get a coach in there that, for the second straight season, the New York Knicks halfway through the season are hovering around 50%. Where for the last 7 seasons before this, the New York Knicks would have been lucky to have 23 wins by the end of the season. You know what I mean? So it's weird to ask if they're being coached right. But I keep wondering, are they being coached right? Based off questions that you're asking in a weird way. Because what's in the cup? It's just lemonade.
Do you mean developed or coached?
Well, a little bit of both, to be honest with you. Well, coached right. Development, I think he's developing them right. I think players are getting better. I think players are understanding the game. Before he got there, players have gotten better. Certain players have gotten better. But now what my question is that I'm trying to wonder if they're being coached right. Meaning I'm trying to wonder if they're being managed correctly more than anything else. Every other team, right? So let me tell you how this. I think they're being coached backwards in a sense. I feel like they're being coached like a championship team that is just adding a few young pieces here and there, versus a young team that needs to add a few veterans here and there to kind of help set the culture. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird because these guys like Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker and even to an extent Julius Randle and Nerlens Noel, they're not supposed to be key points to this offense. They're not supposed to be the main guys here. What it really should be, like other teams do, it should have been the game force fed to RJ Barrett for 3 straight years and let him work through the muck and finally start to get to the place where he's comfortable. Because that's what everybody else gets. Tyler Halliburton got that. Your boys in Cleveland got that. Sexton, Garland, and the other innuendo.
That ain't fair, though. That ain't fair, T. That's not fair, though.
What's not fair?
That's not fair. That's comparing to the Cavs or to because those teams are like they had nobody else.
But we had nobody. That's what the Knicks were though.
MVP Randle.
But no. But that's where the Knicks.
Julius MVP Randle.
But that's what I'm saying. That's where the Knicks were. The Knicks were at a place where they had nobody, and then Julius Randle he ended up having a nice little spark last season. And what is still happened is that they weren't planning for Julius Randle to be good last year. That's the reason why they drafted Obi Toppin. this was going to be a younger squad. But then Julius Randle popped last year. He had a major pop, and then we can see it really was a pop because he's not being consistent with it this year. DM me. I have a studio in Miami. We can work out a podcast, my music, and your sports. Bet, let's do that. We're gonna have to work out a day. I don't know if I can do every podcast. We'll work something out. We'll talk out schematics. We'll definitely talk out schematics. Cause cause if I could, I'll live in the studio. You know, like that Fabulous star. In the studio. In the studio. I forget the words. What's that?
Julius?
So yeah, Julius Randle, he popped. Yeah, so he popped last year, and it was an unexpected pop because that's the reason why they got Obi. They got Obi expecting, okay, we're gonna probably push Julius Randle out a little bit. He may play well, but maybe just play well enough to get
to fuck up your draft.
Yeah, like just no, good enough to maybe get another player or some shit like that, or to trade him for a player. But they didn't expect him to be an MVP candidate. And that kind of fucked, because once he became an MVP candidate, then the Knicks also became the 4th seed. Once they became the 4th seed, everything changed. It's almost like they erased the whole entire board, and they changed it from, okay, we're no longer going to be trying to build up all of this young talent and build a team around this young talent. We're going to treat Julius Randle like Carmelo Anthony that year and bring pieces in to make him better. So it's almost like they pushed RJ Barrett to the side a little bit and started focusing on what Julius Randle does and how they could be better and win around Julius Randle. While RJ Barrett takes second fiddle, if not sometimes third fiddle, because you know Tom Thibodeau's favorite son, Derrick Rose is on the team. So Derrick Rose basically almost becomes the number 2 or number 1 option just because of seniority and favoritism. And also skill. Derrick Rose is still the best point guard that we have on the team, unfortunately.
I mean, that's not unfortunate, man, because he's still there, bro.
You know, so that's what made me. So as I'm watching this Knicks team, it made me wonder: are the Knicks?
On the team, man. Kimba don't play the point guard no more.
I mean, he's on the team, but he isn't the best point. I think Derrick Rose is a better point guard than Kimba. Because they're both about 80% of what they used to be, if that. 80 to 75% of what they used to be.
Yeah, and Derrick Rose is probably even less.
Yeah. And given that, even if they're both at 75% of what they used to be, I put Derrick Rose better than Kimba. Even though Kimba may be a better decision maker, because I think he always was. But Derrick Rose just happens to be the better player, in a sense. It's weird.
I mean, he was. I mean, he's built that way, though, overall.
Yeah.
Initially, his pedigree is probably top notch. So, but I don't know. I just feel like, RJ Barrett in his 3rd year, you looking at Ja, you looking at Lucas, you looking at those guys of the world. That's you in the same breath. You're looking at Evan Mobley this year. You're looking at Anthony Edwards this year. You in that same breath, bro.
Okay, so now to answer your question about RJ Barrett, I talked about this last game, right? Our last podcast. RJ Barrett actually is getting it to the point where he looks like he's living up to his number 3 pick. It's just the point where he's not the focal point in New York. New York has way too many other focal points. Like it's for him to truly shine through. It's almost like he has a protective wall of bullshit around him, in front of him. He has Julius Randle out there. I'm taking the heat for him. You got Derrick Rose out there. Being polarizing. You got Kemba Walker taking heat off of him. You got Evan Fournier taking shrapnel instead of him. Everybody else takes those. Is taking all that heat off of him. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He's never had to worry about pressure. Hasn't had to worry about being a guy. Not even from a mental standpoint. But what I've seen over these last 10 games or so, especially since he's finally gotten healthy, because he had COVID for a while and he was really out. He's one of those people where COVID was really fucking with him. Since he's been back, right? Actually, let's just talk about since the new year. Since the new year, RJ Barrett led the team in scoring 6 out of the 8 times. 32 points, 31 points, 32 points, 26 points. 8, and in a couple games where he had 18 and 19. So what that tells me that, okay, you're starting to understand things because he already averages about 17 points per game. If he's now, yeah, exactly, he's not horrible. He's not the focal point, and he's putting up 17. He's, like I said, he's the second and sometimes third, fourth option sometimes, and he's averaging 17. He's consistently the second leading scorer on the team.
That is dope.
You know what I mean? He's consistently the second leading scorer on the team, and he's never been the focal of the offense. It's basically, hey, you get an open shot here after Julius Randle, then dribble all of the air out of the ball. Or you get an open shot here after Derrick Rose then did some acrobatic shit at the rim and wants to pass it out in the mid-air. You know what I mean? That's been him. When he gets the ball, though, I'm gonna tell you this: he doesn't dribble more than 5 to 7 times to get his points. He's decisive with his scoring. He gets the ball, it's bam bam, move, and I'm there. It's never 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Basically, when we complain about Julius Randle, he doesn't have that. It's 5 dribbles, you're there. Decisive movement. He learns how to use his body, and if these last 10 games, or since he's been healthy, is an indication of him finally starting to get it. Because if you're averaging 17 now, if he has figured out how to average 7 more points or add 7 more points onto his average, then he's fully living up to his number 3 pick. If he starts averaging 24 points a game, you have nobody complaining about. You have not even nobody. Just the question that you having right now, you don't worry about RJ Barrett if all of a sudden now he finishes off the season averaging about 24 points per game. But right now he's at 17. And we hear about everybody else because everybody else is so much more polarizing. He's a soft-spoken guy. Even when he has his interviews is monotone like a motherfucker. Bueller, Blue, like, yes, we did a well job. Everything was good, and we were able to. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Monotone like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? But he also stays even keeled. One of the things, again, see, it's really weird because I really did address a lot of this last podcast. One of the other things I noticed about him, he's never rushed. So he doesn't over dribble the ball, and he never looks sped up. He's kind of like Luke in that way, where when he is dribbling, it's slow, it's methodical. He takes his time. He doesn't get overpowered a lot. He's a big dude. He's 6'8", 230. Or 6'6", 230, or some shit like that. I mean, he's not a small guy. I've said this about RJ Barrett since day one. Since day one, he's coming to the league. Not this year, not last year, not his first. You know what I mean? Not this year, because if I say it this year, it looks like something different. If I say this at the end of 2 years ago, it looks like I've been saying this since day one. Since I've started noticing little quirks in his playing style. If he can turn into a DeMar DeRozan or a Jimmy Butler, I'll be 100% satisfied. And this is DeMar DeRozan before DeMar DeRozan this year. I was saying this because DeMar DeRozan this year is a completely different person than he was 2-3 years ago. It's a completely different person I'm comparing him to. Just to let you guys also know. So when you start saying, "Oh my God, DeMar DeRozan put up the most points in the fourth quarter," that wasn't DeMar. He wasn't.
He finally himself. DeMar is a special case. What's the ceiling though? What's RJ's ceiling? Look, because I got. But
that's my ceiling though. Right now, I'm looking at him as DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler. That's his 2 ceilings to me.
That's a rough ceiling.
But hey, I don't know any better. I from right now, that's what I see. 24 points, 7 rebounds.
Personality wise.
7 rounds. Oh, personality wise, he's kind of like DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I was thinking more like a Lamar Odom.
Lamar Odom.
That's his ceiling.
I don't know if that will be his ceiling. Like right now, like I said, right now, if he can get to what DeMar DeRozan is now, where in the fourth quarter we're fearing him, and he's the guy that's averaging the most points. That used to be the title of Kyrie Irving. I'll take that from him, but I don't know who I can compare. He's not super explosive. He doesn't over dribble. So you know what I mean. He's just efficient. He's just really. if I had
that was Lamar. That was Lamar, man. Lamar.
So if I had to put it super, if I had to give you like super ceiling, right? Kawhi Leonard. That would be ceiling.
Yeah.
But you said ceiling.
Yeah, I got you.
See, you made me change my ceiling because before I was like, okay, he could become a DeMar. Sorry.
I'm just thinking about defense. Wow, is he that good defensively?
He can.
So when you say a ceiling, it gotta make sense. I mean,
Well, again, his defense isn't horrible. Like, he's a decent defensive player.
Kawhi defense, no, we can't say that. Kawhi defense was the best. Damn near when he came into the league, he was top 10 defender.
Even on Tom Thibodeau defensive team, his defense is. But again, I think Tom Thibodeau coaches defense bad. In a weird way. Again, exactly. It sounds odd, but let me ask you this. In today's game, what do you need to protect most? The paint or the three-point line?
Well, I get the three-point line.
This team gives up more open. They give up more open 3 points than any other team. But because you know what they do? They protect the shit out of the paint. Like, if you think you're going hard in the paint, today you getting whiskey dick. Ain't no hard in the paint today.
Last year, but it ain't working this year.
Well, let me tell you what happened last year too. Last year, this is a stat that you have to really listen to. Last year, they led the league in opponent misses on open 3-pointers. So that added to their defensive numbers.
That's what he's banking on. You can't hit all them threes.
But you got to start contest. But you also got to contest them. But law of averages catches up to you. Law of averages saying that they're not going to keep missing all these shots, and that's kind of what happens this year, or that's what happened in the playoffs. These teams aren't going to keep missing all these shots. So you're crunching the fuck out of the paint, and I see it every game. They crunch the shit out of the paint. You can't do nothing in the paint. It's like a compactor in there. But then the 3-point line is wide open. That's bad coaching. You're a good coach on defense, and you get them great defensive concepts. But maybe you're emphasizing nothing in the paint, which I get is a great 90s concept, but you're not putting people on their ass. You're just clogging the paint. If your concept is no easy baskets at the paint, then you clogging the paint isn't just doing it. Make people fear going into the paint.
But you can't do that. You know you can't do that.
But you can in a way. New York Knicks are one of the more physical teams out there. You can still be physical. There are physical teams out. Oh, they're not physical teams out there. Like, there's still a way that you can do it. Like, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna.
The ones that matter.
Yeah, you're not gonna do it 90s style.
To a Kemba Walker, they don't care about that. To Kyrie, it's impossible to get that.
It was never gonna matter to guys like Kemba Walker or Kyrie Irving. They know they have better.
Curry?
For Curry a little bit.
That motherfucker, you beat him up. Some of these soft motherfuckers, yes.
Like
Lillard, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? It just takes you, not necessarily softens them up, but puts you in that pressing too hard.
Or reluctant, or put you in a reluctant mode. Like I said, some guys was never going to affect.
Maybe not like a down of the mission, maybe.
But make it your identity. Like I understand it's not going to work against everybody. It'll work against enough people, and then make it your identity. When people you're like New York. Like, I'm sorry, Mitchell Robinson gets about 4 fouls a game. I don't want to see 4 fouls from a game for you. You know what I want to see? 4 fouls in a technical. That's what I want. If you're gonna pick up 4 fouls, I want one of them to be a technical. Every other game, every third game, make it be part of your reputation. You're not coming in here, and at least that way, the guys on the perimeter can half collapse and prepare for the kick out. Because what's happening is that they collapse too much, and then the kick out happens, and then what happens is that they can't close out in time, or they don't close out with maximum effort. So again, I bring it back. I wonder again: is Tom Thibodeau coaching this team properly? Not is he Because I think he has helped develop them. Now, has he helped develop offense? I don't think he's done that either. Because for him, it's still very basic, just pick and roll or isolation ball, because I have my favorite son, Derrick Rose. So there's still a lot of isolation ball. And I know not every team does this, but when you watch better teams play, it's almost like you're watching a different sport sometimes. It's like it's like watching Golden State play sometimes. It's like watching a different brand of basketball. There's so much ball movement. There's so much player movement. The New York Knicks don't have a lot of player movement. They don't have a lot of ball movement. Now, they get a lot of assists, which makes it look weird, but a lot of those assists are on one person dribble, drive, and dish combination. Derrick Rose, dribble, dive, dish. Kemba Walker, dribble, dive, dish. Julius Randle, dribble, spin move, pump fake, dish. It's all on the drive and dish. It's not, oh, I done set 2 screens for this guy to come off of a curl, get him into a spot, let me get him in a good mid-range shot, or get him into a good rhythm shot. It's not, oh, let me get a back screen cut off of a pick and let me get this guy easy shot in the basket. It's either pick and roll or isolation ball. And I know pick and roll and isolation ball is how a lot of basketball is played today in the league. That's when you have those guys. When you have maybe Ja Morant. Maybe I could play a lot of pick and roll and isolation ball. But when you got guys that need movement, like Evan Fournier, that need to get into rhythm shots, and you know what I'm saying? Alex Burke. What ends up happening is that he ends up putting the ball in these guys' hands too much and have them play pseudo point guard. Hey, penetrate, and then see if you can dish if you can. So again, I wonder, is he coaching these guys up right everywhere? Already, I keep finding that he's a little too stubborn on how he coaches offense. Maybe the way he coaches defense, while he has teams prepared and he gives them a dictionary on the teams and players' tendencies. Maybe some of the tendencies or some of the key points that you exercise in defense. Maybe some of those are antiquated. See, there's a lot of things that they complain about Tom Thibodeau, how he could wear on teams and wear on players. And I don't think if you're that kind of coach, you could really wear on players. Like they're saying, players like a lot of players, honestly, believe it or not, like to be coached hard. But when you're doing the insane shit, basically when you're doing the same shit over and over again, and now we're not getting the results, there's the little tedious shit that you're not tweaking on the fly, that you're not addressing. That's when you can start to lose some players. Too often are the New York Knicks falling down behind 20 and having to fight back into games. And while the fight back is nice, to be like, okay, they never give up. They keep on fighting. They're walking rock song. Like whatever it is. It's fool's gold. It's truly fool's gold, because you can't fall down by 20 every single game. Or you can't give up a 20-point lead every single game after you've gone up by 18, 19, 20 points. You can't have it be a one-possession game every single game. Because if you're able to go up by 20, then maintain up by 20. If you're able to erase a 20-point deficit, then go up by 20 and stay there. What's with this roller coaster ride? You see, those inefficiencies, that inconsistency is why the New York Knicks are hovering around 500. It's why the New York Knicks currently right now are on the outside looking at it like some peeping toms of playoffs. Right now they're playoff perverts. They're staring through the playoff window. Oh my God, look, you look so good. Look at you, number 10 seed. You're sexy one. You're round O. Ooh, I just want to see you put your 1 in your O. Let me see it one time. Come on. Do it for daddy. Yeah. They're playoff perverts right now. They're on the outside looking in. Like I said, it's so weird because it's It should be a young team that has veteran culture around it. It should be a young team that has a few veterans here and there to help them learn how to play the game of basketball. Let them learn how to manage, maneuver, get through the season. Like we saw with Atlanta and Vince Carter. Or like we saw with Memphis and Vince Carter. Or like we saw anywhere that Vince Carter went. Like we see what Miami does with Udonis Haslem. Like, these guys shouldn't be the focal point of your team. They should be complementary pieces. There's a reason why Derrick Rose is out injured right now. It's the reason why Kemba Walker needs his time managed. It's the reason why Nerlens Noel is constantly out. They're older. They can't manage the workload that you want them to manage. You know who can? You young fucks. You young bucks. My bad. You young fucking bucks. I'm watching the Bucks right now play the Memphis Grizzlies. That's the game that we currently... Excuse me. That is the game that we currently have right now on in the background. As soon as I get an update on the score, we will go ahead and give that back to you. I know that we're having audio issues everywhere. So wherever you are that you're listening, and if you're catching the podcast, I do thank you for bearing with it and staying with us. And I gotta see which audio that I'm gonna have to use for the archives, for real. As it currently stands right now, the Memphis Grizzlies are getting their ass whooped, 68-86. It's about 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. I'm probably gonna end up leaving this game now and going over to the Brooklyn Nets game. I think they're playing Atlanta. Who are they playing? No, they're playing Washington tonight. So we're going to get a chance to see some Bradley Beal and Spencer Dinwiddie. And Spencer Dinwiddie gets a chance to come back to Brooklyn. Also tonight we'll go ahead and we'll probably peek into that Miami Heat and Portland Trailblazers game. A little known fact about that Portland Trailblazers game. We'll go ahead and give you an injury report around that as well. Damn, I almost forgot his damn name, Damian Lillard. Don't ask me how. But I almost forgot his name. Right? So, back to the Knicks, right? It should be different. Like, it should be what everybody else has really done for their young. And I know that that Tom Thibodeau brought in guys like Taj Gibson and his favorite son, Derrick Rose, right, to help be some veteran leadership, but also to help them in areas of it. But those guys are getting way too many minutes. And that's the reason why they're breaking down. It reminds me of the year that Melo was here. And that was supposed to be a young team of him and J.R. Smith. And I forgot who the young power forward was around that time. I can't remember. It was the dude that's now on NBA TV, that light-skinned dude. Ended up going to the Cavs eventually and then winning a championship there. I forget his name, but he was a New York Knick at first. Right? It reminds me of the year that remember the time when the New York Knicks had Melo, and around Melo they had all these old guys, Kirk Thomas and Rasheed Wallace and Jason Kidd and Prijal Prigioni, and it was guys like that they used to have, and I get it. And what ended up happening is that a lot of the young guys that they thought they was gonna have, they had Amari Stoudemire and J.R. Smith and Raymond Felton. A lot of these young guys that they had, like the Stoudemires, they ended up getting injured early, and with key injuries that put them out for a while, which made them very dependent on their veteran players. And the next thing you know, Kirk Thomas can't play foot fractures or plantar fasciitis. Rasheed Wallace can't give you the plantar fasciitis, foot, stress factors, things like that. As he's trying to manage his injuries. Prigioni, just old, can't keep up with the young guards anymore. Hell of a point guard, hell of a decision maker, but just can't keep up. It reminds me of that, right? But that team was meant to be a championship contending team from day one when they started putting that together. This was always supposed to be the beginning of a rebuild. It just so happened that Tom Thibodeau came in year one of the rebuild and damn near kicked in the fucking door. And when he kicked in that fucking door, it set expectations to an unreasonable height. Where now when we have the same record that we had last year, with just about 22, 23 wins, it is now a setback. When we have as many wins that we used to put up in a whole entire season for the majority of the last decade, up until the last 2 years, it seems like a setback. But if you're going to try to go forward, you do see where the New York Knicks are consistently not practicing winning habits. See, you want to compare, because what ends up happening is that based off of your draft position, you're constantly going to be compared to other people supposedly in your draft position. Or judged based off your draft position. Hey, you were drafted third. What the fuck are you doing? 17 points per game? What the fuck? Why? And then you have to peel back that onion. And look, year one, you had no fucking coach. New York Knicks had no clue what the fuck they were doing. Now they were still trying to run the triangle. Year two, you got Tom Thibodeau. Okay, defense got better, offense got better, but Julius Randle popped. So that kind of pushed. If they were gonna force feed you some offense, that kind of pushed you to the side, because once they started winning, it being a rebuild and developmental year all went out the window. No, you're a contender, and you could possibly win. So now what happened is that the loudest voice in the room starts to win. And the loudest voice in the Knicks room says, win now, 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 win now. We know we've been trying to say we need to develop these young guys, develop our young guys. But all of a sudden, you catch a little spark, you know what I mean? You start going off a little bit, and everybody starts figuring that, we can win now, win now, win now, win now. How are we 2 years into a process? What team 2 years into their process wins now? Unless they have who are considered one of the best 3 players in the game. Who wins now? When you're starting from scratch. Now, maybe that's where I need to get myself back to. Is that even in year 2, Tom Thibodeau, you know what? Maybe you start realizing that there are things that you need to quirk. You need to not tweak in your coaching philosophy, offense and defense. Maybe by year 3 you start realizing, okay, this is where this is where I've been successful, but this is where I've been unsuccessful highly. Why are teams shooting so many 3-pointers on us? Why are they hitting so many 3-pointers on us? Maybe you're gonna have to force Mitchell Robinson to truly be a center. Or be that Rudy Gobert and just leave him on an island inside the middle. Maybe you should have went after ball. Like Boston did. We'll talk about that maybe. That ball trade. Jesus. I think Boston is being coached bad too, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the New York Knicks they lost that game to Minnesota, and it was a heartbreaking loss, because we're talking about like the last 3 minutes of that game. The New York Knicks couldn't score. They had unreasonable turnovers. The one bright side of that whole entire game happened to be in the third quarter when they caught a massive spark. They didn't turn the ball out. They didn't turn the ball over in the third quarter. They end up erasing that 20-point deficit. Even end up taking that lead, and basically they finished the game with a back and forth game. But then coming into the fourth quarter and coming especially down to the end, the turnovers that bugged that ailed them in the first half came back again. And that basically ended up derailing their comeback run. At the end of the game, Julius Randle will miss a key 3-pointer, a key free throw. Oh shit! Byron Forbes reportedly traded to the Nuggets in a that's right. Byron Forbes is part of that 3-team trade, included with the Denver Nuggets that include Ball and the Boston Celtics. the New York Knicks would end up basically losing this game at the end. Julius Randle had the opportunity to tie this game by hitting 2 free throws, and he missed one. And the moment he missed one, I know this was in my head, and I feel like I'm not the harshest of Knicks fans out there. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm one of the more reasonable ones. But even in my head, as I can very quietly hear from all, I need to get to this. I need to get to this Brooklyn game because it don't look like there's gonna be a comeback here in Memphis. So let's go find Brooklyn and Washington, and let's see if we catch a little bit of. This is at Washington, so we're gonna get some Kyrie Irving. We're gonna get some. Oh, the game ended? The fuck? Oh, that game was on for a while. Okay. Let's see what's going on with Portland and Miami. Let's see if we got a little bit of time left on that game. As soon as Julius Randle misses that shot, right? Okay, this is a little closer game. 97-90. Miami Heat. 2 minutes and 27 seconds left. As soon as Julius Randle missed that free throw, as I can hear it in my head, I knew that it was probably happening even possibly with a lot of New York Knicks fans, right? And I could almost hear it echoing through the skies. This is why you ain't the man. This is why you're not an all-star. This is why you ain't that dude. This is why you're basically a number 2. Piece of shit. No, not really a piece of shit. But this is why you're a number 2. And not a number 1. This is why you're a B- player. Like, I know you weren't an A player. And I've been trying to figure out where you are in the B. Like, you're a B- player. And it showed. It showed from last year to this year, and it showed, and it's been showing all through this season, and it showed again, and it showed again in the very last game. See, because Julius Randle's performance makes me go back to something that even Chill Will said last year, that there's a reason why Julius Randle isn't being considered for truly an MVP, right? He ain't truly being talked about as an MVP candidate for whatever he's doing for the Knicks. Because you know what? The reason why the world isn't exploding off air, why the coverage isn't being done that way, if he was doing, remember I kept saying like, oh, if anybody else is doing what Julius Randle was doing with this Knicks, then the whole entire world would have exploded already. And there was a reason. Because it was cute, right? It was almost like you know what he's doing right now is an outlier of a season. Let's see him repeat that shit. What do we say with champions? Win another one. What do we see with MVPs? Get another one. Do it again. Let me prove that you got the sauce for real. And this was Julius Randle's prove it year. And what he's proven that he don't have that sauce. Like he's that watered down shit that you get at the knockoff place. Or that place that got super franchised. Like he ain't genuine. He's a watered down version. Because this year, when teams are now focusing on him, he has no clue what to do. He has no clue what to do anymore. He's getting those turnovers again. Now he has been trying to find ways to find his open teammates. But you can see it. The frustration this year has brought him. As teams focus on him because you wanted to portray yourself as the man. You can see the frustration when he's giving the thumbs down because you're not holding up your side of the deal to the fans. You can see the frustration and the evidence that you're not that dude. When the game is at the line, we just need you to hit 2 and you can't come through. It's a light bars. Yeah, I dream in color and in rhyme. Did you hoochies get the invite? What invite? What invite? Everybody says I get an invite. But I don't know what invite they talking about. Yeah, everybody tells me I get these invites and then I open them up, but I never see them. I don't remember seeing any of these invites. Like I was trying to figure out a prize for the women's fantasy league and the date that I wanted to reward them with their prize, because I haven't told anybody. You know, let's go ahead and talk about that prize. I want to stop talking Knicks for a while. I really do, because the prize to my women's fantasy football league is going to be 2 tickets to the show called, where is it at? Slow Burn Theater, right? Company. They're putting on Once on This Island. They're gonna put on a show, and their tickets coming up in February, from between February 4th to February 20th. Oh, I didn't know it was all the way to the 20th. And what I was thinking is that I want to buy some tickets for. I want to buy tickets for Valentine's Day for whoever wins the women's league. And obviously, you know, I'm hoping that they're booed up. At least I know this particular one is booed up, so I got to get 2 tickets. And I'm over here like, yo. So I didn't want to ask them, so I asked their boo. Hey, yo, you look through your text messages, bozo. Is it from you? Yeah, it just happened. Just happens. Let's go ahead and get back, right? Because I'm watching this Miami Heat game, right? And this actually brings me to what we like to consider our Florida Man topic of the evening. Come on, give me a little Florida Man music. Oh, some random shit. Oh. Like, oh, I thought it was the feds. Like, you can't be sending me no shit like that. Okay, folks. Florida man. Folks, we have a Florida man that is out of control, folks. We have a Florida man that is out of control. What am I talking about? Folks? Right now, I kind of wish SB was with us. I am talking about that game between the Toronto Raptors and the Miami Heat, folks. That was happening down here in my local city of Miami, folks. Well, Miami took on Toronto. They were coming with a nice little victory of 104-99. One of the key things, one of the beautiful things that we happened to see in this game, right, was the return of one bam, 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 bam. Like, that you can't be pussy whipped. You gotta whoop that pussy. Bam, 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 bam. That's you can't be injured. You gotta whoop that injury. Bam, 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 bam. As Bam Adebayo returns from his injury, folks. So it's been about 49 days, folks. It's about 6 weeks since we last seen Bam Adebayo in a Miami Heat. In a Miami Heat uniform. He makes his appearance as he returns for the folks, as the Miami Heat just finished. as they just beat the Portland Trailblazers 104-92, folks. All right, so that game is over. Let us go back and finish watching this blowout. Let's see, Chicago and let's go watch Chicago and Cleveland, right? These are two division rivalry games, right? These are two teams that are high up on the Eastern Conference Eastern Conference ladder. The top four of the conference right now. Let's go and see this game. This should be interesting. We got Chicago currently in the lead right now, 97-89 over Cleveland with just about 7 minutes and 40 seconds left. Yeah, I'm not going back to that Milwaukee and Memphis game. That game I was watching for a whole different reason, right? Because it's Ja Morant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, which basically it's like watching it's like watching Big and Mini Me or whatever that shit is, twins or whatever. With Arnold Schwarzenegger and they, because they really are like just the same person in two different sides of his body, right? and those two guys are two of the must see guys in the NBA. They're athletic, they're freakish, both of them. Not just the Greek freak, but the jaw dropper Mo Rants, right? Let them talk that talk, right? With George Oppenmore Rants, he's also one of those explosive must-see television guys. Both of these guys can block shots at the rim, got ridiculous chase downs, can bring the ball up the entire court and bang it on your head. Like both of these guys are also doing phenomenal things to keep both of their teams in playoff contention as it currently speaks right now. Memphis Grizzlies on the third slot, and I forgot where I saw the Milwaukee Bucks at. Where I'll have that information up in just a moment. Don't you guys worry. Don't you worry, child. I will have these stats for you. Don't you worry now. So the number 6 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks are in. 5th seed. So as I said, both of them having their teams rightfully in the playoffs. We already know what Giannis Antetokounmpo has done. 2-time MVP champion, MVP of the finals, all of that, right? All that jazz. So it was just one of those interesting matches that I thought was going to be interesting, but Milwaukee Bucks end up making light work of the Memphis Grizzlies. Last time I saw it, they were getting that ass whooped by like 15 points. You know what? Let's go ahead and come back. We have about 7 minutes left to go in this Chicago and Cleveland game. Let's go back to this Milwaukee and Memphis game. Let's see how it plays out. Let's make sure that Ja Morant doesn't come away with some kind of jaw-dropping comeback. We don't want to miss a thing, though, as they get down in Bucktown. Milwaukee Bucks up still. Now back to our Florida man, right? So as you know, we get the return of Bam Adebayo, folks. Bam Adebayo hadn't played a game for the Miami Heat in just about 49 days, or just about 2 weeks. When we're talking about compared to the Martin Luther King League that they played on Monday, folks. When Bam Adebayo was gone, the Miami Heat went 15-8, folks. 15-8 with him gone. So that's basically saying that they were 13-8 when before he left. But people don't realize that. Currently, the Miami Heat record is 28-16. They lost 8 games when he was there. They lost 8 games with him. Again, sometimes you just have to give kudos to what Eric Spoelstra is doing over there in Miami, right? One of the true Florida men that we highly respect, because for a couple of years now he's been doing great work with this Miami Heat team, and even when they didn't have any recognizable household names, he had this team in playoff contention. And now they have names that are household names because they did what you're supposed to do to become a household name. They won. And they made it to the highest of platforms, the NBA Finals. They just happened to lose. That was 2 years ago already, folks. That was bubble championship for the LA Lakers, but they luckily won one because they were able to drag a partially recovered Anthony Davis through the finish line. Because we all know if that finals date was going to be a regular date, they wouldn't have had Anthony Davis and they wouldn't have won. That's real talk. Ja Morant currently right now 29 points, 4 for 8 from 3-point line. Let's see here. 7 rebounds, 11 assists. Nah, that can't be. That must be. Yep, 7 rebounds, 11 assists. It look like this game is just about over. This game just finished. Memphis Grizzlies end up having 56 points in the paint to the Milwaukee Bucks 50. Let's see what this final score is. And as soon as we get that, let's see. Oh, no, not the final score. Not the final score. Both teams are still... Nah. Wait a minute. Are they giving me a recap? Because I did not think that there was still 10 minutes left to the game in this fourth quarter. I could have sworn this game was in the third quarter already. I think so. This game was already in the fourth quarter. With just minutes to go. We have a whole quarter left in this game? Okay, since we have a whole quarter left in this game, let's go back to Cleveland and Chicago. That game should probably have about less than 5 minutes left to go. This is still about an 11-point game in Memphis. I think it was like 89-100 when I saw that score. So we'll come back to that. Currently, right now, the Chicago Bulls are leading the Cleveland Cavaliers 103-95. With just a little over 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. And we're going to stay here until the end of this game. And when this game ends, we'll go ahead and switch over to that Memphis and Milwaukee game. So listen, the Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat, right, have found a way to win games and keep themselves relevant, even when they didn't have who should be their anchor and center, which is Bam Bam. But like I said, that goes to how well that Eric Spoelstra has been coaching up his Heat team. We now know who Bam Adebayo is. A couple years ago, we had no clue. We were like, what? Bam, who? What? Bam, Bam. Oh, you got somebody from the Flintstones on your team? What? Who the fuck are we talking about here? Tyler Hero, Tim Duncan. What? Not Tim Duncan? What's the guy's name? Duncan Robinson? Oh, man, Tim Duncan. David Robinson. No, that's not his name. Duncan Robinson? Oh, okay, that's what we got here. There's so much of a household name now that you have the guy Tyler Hero, where he's coming out there and he said like, yo, listen, when you think about me, I want you to think about me in the same breath as Ja Morant, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, those young budding stars. Like, I should be in the same breath as them. In their last victory against the Toronto Raptors, folks, Tyler Hero led all scorers with 23 points, folks. Miami Heat currently are first in the division and second in the conference. And it looks like they're gonna come away with a victory. They're gonna come away with a victory. They came with a victory against Portland. Right now, Chicago is playing Cleveland, right? And Chicago and Cleveland right now are the number one. Basically, Chicago's the number one seed. I'm seeing the number one team in the East, with Cleveland sitting at number 4. But only 2 games separating them. They both have the same amount of wins, 27. What separates them is how many losses they have. Currently, the Chicago Bulls have 15 losses, and the Cleveland Cavaliers have 18. Now, with a Cleveland win here, it won't change the standings. Actually, it probably would. It probably get things flipped. I wonder if the Cleveland wins. I can't hear the commentators to see what kind of why sugars we see. Maybe able to. DeMar DeRozan, 6 assists, 11 of the last 16 games. 6 plus assists in 11 of the last 16 games. He had 6 assists tonight. But just under 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. 106-102 Chicago. Yeah, we got to see if Cleveland wins this game that is able to switch spots. I know as it currently stands right now that Chicago's going to want to win this game. They're going to want to hold on to that number 1 spot, right? Because as we see it, we have the Miami Heat currently with their victory, trying to take that spot away from them. Brooklyn Nets are sitting at number 3, folks, and like I said, right behind them are the Cleveland Cavaliers at the 4th spot. Better than Milwaukee, better than Philly, better than Charlotte, better than Washington, better than Toronto, better than Boston, and obviously better than the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, folks, who have a worse record than the New York Knicks. So I know that it is very bad practice to take solace in somebody else's shortcomings, but
Yo, you thought Trae Young was still good? Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae Young!
now part of the reason why I was hoping that SB would have been able to join the podcast right now, because he is our residential Toronto fan on the podcast, right? He brings his news from our brothers up north. If you guys watch that Toronto Raptors and Miami Heat game, in the fourth quarter, at around the 9-11 mark, there was a bang play at the rim, folks, where a shot was challenged by, I think it was by Matt Barnes, or not Matt Barnes, but by Barnes. I forget his first name. By the rookie Barnes. And when he challenged that play, he would go crashing into the front row and smashing a young lady and a gentleman. Folks, the young lady gets smashed so much, her drink is all over her. Like, she got hit so hard, and you can see like her lipstick on her. You can see her lipstick on her shirt. She has her teeth. She's checking her teeth. And folks, that young lady and that gentleman. Thank you, Sugars, for sharing the show, for liking and sharing the show. That young lady and gentleman happens to be two good friends of mine. One, DJ Scepter, who we've had on the show, and I'm actually trying to get the young lady that was smashed into by that player. I'm trying to get her here on the Mighty Sports Podcast for you guys, so that she can talk about her experience. And I guarantee you, she's not gonna get an interview anywhere else. We're gonna have to get an exclusive, folks. You're gonna get a MyT Sports exclusive from the Crashed Into Sports Fan. They gave her a couple of towels or whatever, like to clean herself off, this, that, and the third. Like, as soon as she got hit, she stood up, she waved to the crowd, let everybody know that she was okay. And it's funny because you can hear the commentators saying that, oh, like she went flying, her camera went flying, all this, right? And then he goes, I would like to see her. I would love to see her camera footage. Now see, like she ain't like me. But I know my homeboy DJ Scepter. Like if I was her, I would have been sharing that to ESPN, to Bleacher Report, and to Fox Sports. You would have seen me on a highlight somewhere. You would have caught my ass on a highlight reel somewhere. I don't care. You would have caught me. I would have gotten my 72 hours of fame. And don't forget, folks, if you're trying to listen to the podcast, you can go ahead and join the conversation using I call it in through the hotline that we utilize through the Podbean app, folks. That's PODBEN. Download the Podbean app. Look for the MyT Sports Podcast, and you'll be able to call into the show if you would like to join and call. Or you can always go to my website, mytsports.net. M as in Mike, Y as in Yankee, T as in Tango, sports.net. You can also catch us anywhere that you listen to podcast at, or anywhere that you watch podcast at, whether that's YouTube, that's Twitch, that's Facebook, that's Instagram. That's anywhere that you listen and watch podcasts at. We're there, folks. We happen to be there. So yeah, folks. So just let you know, guys, know that we are working on getting an exclusive interview with Jen Holder. That happens to be the name of the fan that took that horrendous hit from the Toronto player. Also, on top of that, folks, she also happens to be a natural healer when it comes to massage therapy and acupuncture, and also suction cup therapy as well, folks. So hopefully that we can get a couple of plugs from her when she comes into the show, so that if you ever need your body recontorted into the right place, you know exactly who to holler at. Folks, let's go ahead and cut that music, right? I think that's enough. That's enough Florida. That's enough Florida, man. Talk for today, folks. As you guys know, that we already discussed the Miami Heat game as they took on the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. They came with another victory, folks. So that would be the Brooklyn Nets, I believe, came with a victory. I'm gonna go ahead and check that score. Miami Heat came with a victory. While we're looking at the Chicago Bulls and Cleveland game, we still gonna check that out. And then we'll also peek into Sacramento and Detroit. Not because any of those teams are good, but because that's where my rookie is at. It's in Sacramento, and I wonder if he's getting any burn. Folks, another team that, as you know, that we like to take a peek at it at times. We just saw it already as Memphis, as they lost to Milwaukee tonight. Yeah. As you guys know, as football season is coming to an end, right? to let you guys know a couple of the teams that we would constantly I'll constantly be keeping an eye on throughout the whole entire season, folks. I'm a New Yorker all day through and through, so you know I'm gonna keep it with the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets, folks. We're living down here in South Florida, so we'll also make sure we'll keep an update and keep you locked into the Miami Heat as well, folks. I like to pick a rookie to watch before the start of every season, and that rookie happens to be Davion Mitchell. So we're going to keep you updated on Sacramento games as well, and just because of the hell of it, because we just really like what he is doing out there, we will be keeping you on a loose update of Memphis Grizzlies games, as well as anything that's interesting around the league. Klay Thompson watch, Bradley Beal watch, Ben Simmons watch. You understand anything that's going on in the Golden State with the Golden Child and the Golden Boys. Now, as we go from 305 to my city, where I get it. We got the Brooklyn Nets, folks. As we said that tonight, they took on the Washington Wizards, folks. Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, on that whole nine, as they start to get a couple of their pieces back together. The Brooklyn Nets currently have a record of 27-16, first in the division, third in their conference, first of their name. Now, as you guys already know, that Kevin Durant has a sprained MCL, as one of his own players fell into him. He'll be out for about 4 to 6 weeks. That did not stop them from beating up on Cleveland on... Was it Cleveland? Yep. From beating up on Cleveland on Monday during the Martin Luther King Day games, 114-107, where we got the return of the Mac. No, I'm not joking. We got the return of Kyrie Irving, as he was able to put up 27 points and also add 7 rebounds. James Harden will lead all players with assists on his team with 10 assists in that game. As again, it's gonna be weird, right? Because you have to if you're this team, right? Different things have to be going through your mind if you're different stars on this team. If you're Kevin Durant, you gotta be thinking like, fuck, again? Like we just got Kyrie back on some part-time shit, and now I'm down? Like we can't catch a break. Like we can't catch a break for shit. But you know what? Sometimes karma just comes to you and it asks you one little question.
Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
Say it again?
Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks!
And also,
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch! What the fuck, baby? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch! Tom Brady's a fucking bitch! Tom Brady's a fucking bitch!
just about 90 seconds left to go in this game. Chicago is still up 113-102. The Kyrie Irving saga continues, as we anticipate that it would. More so due to the fact that, as we know, Kyrie Irving is a public figure in the basketball world. And he's unvaccinated still. And he's getting to a point where he's getting annoyed, rightfully so, by the continuous questions every single day about his vaccination status. If nothing has... Like, I understand, like, this is my first time in your city. I get it. Even though I've made this statement on my own personal page, I've answered this question after games, I've answered this question in the locker room in various cities. At some point in time, I'm going to get to the point where I don't want to answer these questions, right? And I think that he has the right to do so. But just because I'm now in your town in Cleveland, like, nothing has changed since 2 days ago. Nothing has changed since you saw me on the 12th in Chicago. Nothing changed since you saw me on the 10th in Portland. Like, you know that nothing has changed since the last time my team had a game. Just 2 days ago. And yet you're asking me the same question that I've already addressed 3 to 4 times. I get it. You want my statement for your paper or your blog or your vlog or your whatever, your podcast or whatever. You want my reaction, right? You want that out of me. But you know what? I'm done. I don't have to keep answering this shit. Like, yo, get a life. Go get a grip. As soon as something happens, you guys will find out because you're nosy like that. So stop bugging me, you bugaboo. Bugging me, bugger who, bugger what, bugaboo. So I can get Kyrie Irving's noticeable frustration with the line of repetitive questions. Because you guys know you will be the same exact way, regardless of who's actually the question. You keep getting the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. And at some point in time, you're gonna think to yourself, like, you know what? I'm done. Like, listen, it ain't nothing to do with you. This ain't personal. Like, I'm just done. I can't answer this question anymore. If you want my answer, go listen to the last time I answered this, and you can basically copy and paste whatever I said the last time, because it's basically the same exact shit. Now the Brooklyn Nets, like I said, they were just playing against Portland, but in the very next game they and this was against. Let me see. Was this in Portland today? Oh, no! Look at this was in Brooklyn. Next game we'll get a dosage of Kyrie Irving. So look like we didn't get any Kyrie Irving in this game in Portland, right? We'll get him again in the next game when they're in Atlanta, and then there's gonna be a game when they play against the Lakers pretty soon. But it looks like the Lakers will be coming into Brooklyn. So again, no Kyrie. And again, this brings me back. If you're the players, the three major players on this team, like you have to be like different things have to constantly be going through your mind. Kevin Durant is like, damn, we just can't get on the floor together. But if you're James Harden, you're like, shit, I'm really going to have to carry a lot of this load. And I left Houston to come here to play with these two motherfuckers, and yet we play together. Like, this dude is always injured, and then this dude always got something going on. I don't care what Kyrie has going on. Because before COVID, Kyrie was always finding ways to miss game even last year too without the whole COVID shit. So if I'm James Harden, I'm like, yo, my dude, can somebody help me? Please. Like,
What the fuck, baby?
Like he just want to scream at the top of his lungs. Like, I came here to play with you guys. One guy don't want to get vaccinated so he could play games. The other guy, I get it, you're injured. You injured, my dog. But damn. Again? And then Kyrie's just out here like, I'm just going to ball. I'm just going to get mine whenever I get the chance to play. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. I'm just going to get these numbers. Yep. Alrighty, let's see here. Chicago game is over. That Memphis game, that's right. We still got time. I don't know if I want to go Toronto and Dallas. Oh, I lied. I was looking at the Miami Heat's game. Okay. No wonder things were odd to me. So yeah, we did get a dosage. So we got a dosage of Kyrie Irving tonight, and we will continue to get a steady dosage of Kyrie Irving. My bad. I was looking at the Heat schedule a while ago, and I was talking about Portland and Atlanta. That's who. Miami Heat played Portland tonight in Miami. That makes sense. Okay, I thought I saw a sea of red. And then they're gonna be in Atlanta playing Atlanta, so they're gonna go a little bit up to 95, and they're gonna go ahead and get that done. The Brooklyn Nets, folks. As we talk about Kyrie Irving, folks, they had Kyrie Irving for tonight's game against Washington. They'll also be on the road again for San Antonio and also on the road for Minnesota. So this whole entire week between January 17th and January 23rd, the Brooklyn Nets are on the road 4 straight times. So you're going to get a good dosage of Kyrie. Kyrie Irving's going to get the opportunity to get into a little bit of a rhythm. Now, while they lost the first game of this week to Cleveland, they have Washington. They have Washington, which came up. Let's see. I still have not had an opportunity to see the Brooklyn Nets score. But folks, Milwaukee and Memphis, 114-106. It's just a little under 3 minutes to go. Milwaukee is winning. Now let's see what happened here. The Brooklyn Nets beat the Washington Wizards 119-118. Kyrie Irving goes off for 30 points. James Harden gets 8 rebounds and 9 assists. Brooklyn Nets improved to 28-16. Yeah, so we're gonna get a dosage of Kyrie Irving all the time. As we can see, Kyrie Irving is just gonna do Kyrie, which is what you want him to. Which is actually what you got Kyrie there to do, right? You got Kyrie there to beat Kyrie. You got Kyrie to be one of the most dynamic scoring forces in the league under 6'3". Oh, John Morant gets into the lane, makes a nice little chippy, 111, 114. Memphis is fighting back. 2:25 left in the game. This is actually gonna be a nice little game. Hey, listen. Other than things like why we said we wanted to come back, because we didn't know if Memphis was gonna possibly be able to come back and make a game out of this, and that's exactly what they did. 2:20. Milwaukee is on the line. Brook Lopez is not Brook Lopez. That's the dude in the cut-off jean jacket. I forget this light-skinned dude's name. He used to play for the Indianapolis Pacers. Back in those Paul George and Roy Hibbert days. He's their point guard. They're bad point guard, too. The point guard... The fuck was that? The fuck was that noise? Where the fuck did that come from? Did y'all hear that shit? Hold on, I don't even know. 10:23. Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know that one of the games that I had its own sound. And I think that's the sound of one of my games giving me a notification. Oh, what the fuck was that? Sounded like my old Xbox when I used to turn it on. The Halo edition. So also, like I said, so Miami Heat, they have Washington, they have San Antonio, they have Minnesota. They beat Washington, and I'll be honest with you, if you're gonna have James Harden and you're gonna have Kyrie Irving, I'm gonna expect you to beat San Antonio and also beat Minnesota, even though the New York Knicks just lost to Minnesota on a last minute shot as well. The New York Knicks are gonna round out this week playing the New Orleans Pelicans on Thursday. Let's hope that they can bounce back in that game. As you know, the New Orleans Pelicans still doesn't have any Ja Morant. Not Ja Morant, but any. What's big boy's name? Roly Poly, Zion Williamson. And then they'll finish out the week on Sunday, playing the Clippers, folks. New York Knicks, we'll be playing all of their games at home, folks. So they have a nice little four-game span this week. And like I said, the opposite was for the Brooklyn Nets, and they're gonna be on the road this whole entire week. Miami Heat are gonna end up splitting their games this week between Toronto, Portland, Atlanta, and LA. Home away kind of shit. And then we have the Sacramento Kings, who basically they get a light load this week, only having games on Wednesday night, which is tonight against Detroit, and another game on Saturday versus Milwaukee. Sacramento should beat Detroit. They're gonna get their ass spanked by Milwaukee. And speaking of Milwaukee Bucks just went up 118 to 111, folks, with just under 2 minutes left to go in the game. Or if you're a Miami Heat fan, with just about 2 minutos left in the game. So since we're talking about the game and a couple of these other things, let's give you a couple of injury updates as well.
The MyT injury report.
But before we talk about who is down, let's talk about a way that you can actually get up, folks. A good way to get up is with Blue Chew. What is Blue Chew? Blue Chew just happen to be a little blue pill that can give you back your thrill, folks. All you gotta do is open up a pack and then head to the sack. Just a few chews before you do. Let me show you guys what one of these things look like, folks. Well, see that? This is it, folks. Your Blue Chew. Just a few, listen, this little blue pill, just to give you back your throat. Just a few chews, before you do. This thing has the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. So when I tell you this is one opportunity that you definitely don't want to miss. She's going to love how you come through like a champ, folks, the heavyweight champ, if you know what I mean. When you Blue Chew in advance. And if you use today's promo code, this week's promo code, folks, I'm going to run this promo code until... Oh, did Giannis get a foul for that elbow? And if you use this week's promo code of WGKH, Whiskey Golf Kilo Hotel, you can get your first order of Blue Chew for free on me. Only thing you're going to have to do is pay for shipping and handling. I'm sorry, folks. I have no control over that. You got to pay your postal workers. Ain't that right, Guillermo? Folks, 120-111 Milwaukee over Memphis with just under a minute to go. Unless something miraculous happens, it looks like the Milwaukee win this game, and it looks like they will be improving their record to a whopping whatever the fuck it is, wins with whatever the fuck it is, losses. Now, right? It looks like they're gonna be improving their record to 28-19. There's a lot of teams that are looking at around 28 wins, folks. We just talked about the Chicago Bulls. We talked about the Brooklyn Nets. There's a lot of teams sitting right around 28 wins, 28, 29 wins. Chicago Bulls, 28 wins. Miami Heat, 29 wins. Brooklyn Nets, 28 wins. Milwaukee Bucks, if they get a win, once they complete this win tonight, 28 wins as well. The East is rough this year. The East is rough. I'm going to talk about all the way down to the 10th spot. You know how normally, right, at least the teams that are in the first 8 spot, normally after night number 6, a few of those teams stop being a 500 record team, and they start being slightly below 500, but not anymore. You're getting 500 records all the way through the 10th slot, which means that, again, to make the playoffs in the NBA, it still holds up to this day. All you got to do is win half your games. And if you can't do that, then you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Even a lot of teams have won it without it. But I'm saying, though, I'm just saying, like, I understand there's a lot of teams that have gotten there on a 500 record. And I know that they fight and everybody's deserving and all this other stuff. I'm just saying, you may get there, but you have no place being there. And it shows. Every first round, one of you under 500 teams plays up against the 1 or the 2 seed. And next you know, it's a sweep, or as you like to call it sometimes, a gentleman's sweep. Fuck out of here. So, folks, as we talk about the MyT, as we get into a couple of the MyT injury report, folks, we don't have a lot to talk about in the MyT injury report because it's only about who may be out and how it may have affected a couple of things, folks. You just see here. You earned 36. Oh, my cashback reward from my Get Upside app. Good. Cause I'm gonna be utilizing that money to go ahead and buy the prize for my women's fantasy football league. At least part of it. Shit. You guys are lucky. Now, we have an injury update out of Indiana, the Indianapolis Pacers. We have out Miles Turner. He's out with a stress fracture, and the reason why he even comes into mention right now is because Miles Turner has been the talks of a lot of trades lately, right? Every time, as we know, that Indianapolis Pacers has flirted. I love you so much too, my love. The Indianapolis Pacers have flirted around with possibly, or even leaked possibly, having their wanting to trade their players. Not one of this group of players that they have anymore. Right? I remember if you remember, shortly after they made one of those proclamations, they end up losing really bad. They end up beating the brakes off of the New York Knicks, actually. Well, now we get a stress fracture to Miles Turner, and this is why this is significant, because it's probably an injury he's going to be dealing with to after the trade deadline. And if it's an injury that he's dealing with to after the trade deadline, he may no longer have any trade value, or it may bring down his value down to a point where the Pacers may not be willing to give him up for those peanuts. So this is very bad timing more than anything else for guys like Miles Turner to get injured. Guys that you're thinking, okay, it is very much possible that we could be seeing you on another team in about 30 days or so. It looks like the Milwaukee Bucks are going to complete this victory, folks. The Grizzlies don't have enough to go ahead and complete the comeback. What other games are on right now that we won't mind watching? We got San Antonio. What's Sacramento? Let's go ahead and put the Sacramento-Detroit game on. I probably should watch Clippers and Nuggets, but fuck that. Let's go ahead and watch Sacramento and Detroit. Let's see if my rookie can get onto the court today. Now, there's another injury, obviously, as trade talks keep on looming. Like, one injury to Damian Lillard, right? Like, so I'm not putting Damian Lillard or Miles Turner in the same category, but they're both guys that are constantly being talked about for trade. Damian Lillard, we don't anticipate that he's probably going to be traded, but Miles Turner, we did. Miles Turner, we probably thought that he was going to be traded, and as we can see, that trades are starting to pick up. As I told you, I'm watching the Sacramento Kings, folks. One of the trades that are being talked about with the Sacramento Kings is still possibly one trade for Ben Simmons. And a trade for Ben Simmons isn't just for Ben Simmons. We're talking about get Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and even Matisse Thybulle. What a last name that is. Thybulle. Damn right I am. In exchange for Buddy Hield, Tyler Halliburton, Matt Barnes, and 2 first-round picks. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, that doesn't sound half bad. You get another point guard in Tyler Halliburton. You get to keep the floor stretched with Buddy Hield. Now you're possibly talking about having Buddy Hield and Seth Curry on the floor at the same time if you can. Do you know what kind of shooting you're talking about here? And you get a bona fide vet, somebody that's ready to play now that can take over the spot for Tobias Harris, even though he can't get his own shot like Tobias Harris can. But he can take over that Tobias Harris role. A veteran small forward, veteran power forward, champion. And 2 first-round picks. From Sacramento. Listen, I don't know how good Sacramento thinks they're going to be or bad, but I'm willing to add Ben Simmons to this team and still think that you can get away with some decent lottery picks for at least 1 year if you're Philly. If that is truly a trade that they're talking about, if I'm Philly, I may be ready to pull that trigger. You guys tell me what you think. We're talking Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle for Buddy Hield, Tyler Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, and 2 first-round picks. That's 3 players you can use. If one of the stipulations, right? Buddy Hield's careers versus the Pistons, 99 minutes, 17 points, 47% shooting from field goal, 41% shooting from three-pointer. Okay, so they're over here looking at the numbers. Look, this game is just about to start pretty soon. So I see Buddy Hield there. Let's see if we can get a sighting of Davion Mitchell. If you're Philly, and if your pre-qualifications, right, were I need players that I can play now. I need players that can help me win a championship. I need stuff that I can utilize now. I'm sorry, Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes are 2 players you can use right now in your rotation consistently, while also developing a young point guard in Tyler Halliburton to continue with your future. So you get 2 guys for your now and 1 guy for your future. That can also play right now in a backup role, or if you needed him to a starting role at point guard. You got 3 serviceable players right now. And I guarantee you one of those first-round picks from Sacramento is going to be a lottery pick. So you get a chance to get 4 lottery players. Hield, Halliburton, Barnes, and then whatever you get from the first round. In exchange for Ben Simmons, but more importantly, Tobias Harris and Matisse Thybulle. And I know once you get to Tobias Harris, things start to get a little bit tough to swallow, but you're getting serviceable players. You're getting Harrison Barnes. In almost any scenario that you ask me, whether I have Harrison Barnes or I have Tobias Harris, that sounds like a good enough trade for me if I'm fed up with one or the other. Or if I'm ready to move on from one or the other, but I want to get comparable production back, comparable size back, comparable leadership back, that sounds like a 1-for-1 trade. And then we're just looking at the rest. Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle for Buddy Hield and Halliburton. Yeah, you're winning. You're winning if you're Philly. Actually, if you're both of these teams, you're winning. Because if you're Sacramento, you get Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris to come into your team right now. Those are two guys that are bona fide starters that know that have made deep playoff runs consistently. Two guys that value offense and defense and offense. Two guys that could be an automatic culture setter for you in Sacramento. And then there's one thing you don't have to worry about in Sacramento. You don't got to worry about being booed. As we talked about last game, being able to boo your team is a privilege. And it's a privilege that is bestowed upon the fan bases that don't have to worry about that team going anywhere. Upon fan bases where that team isn't the only show in town and we don't have to kiss their ass. So the Damian Lillard abdominal injury, along with now what's Miles Turner stress factor, it takes two names consistently out of the playoff. Out of the trade rumors or out of the trade talk. It basically removed these two. Now, was Damian Lillard really a trade talk to begin with? We don't know. But we know that Miles Turner's name constantly kept on coming up. Now, there is another trade that recently just happened. And that is one trade for a ball. As you heard us talk about this earlier, between Denver, Boston, and I forgot the third team. But we see Ball, as we heard that he was being traded, and we thought that he was going to get possibly traded to Denver or Utah or some shit like that, or wherever it was. But no, folks, we ended up... Detroit it was. That's where it was. It was Detroit he was supposed to get traded to, possibly. But instead we hear that this was just part of a much bigger trade talk. That was going to be a 3-team trade between Denver, Detroit, and also Boston. That would now send Ball over to Boston, folks. And if I'm Boston, I might say I'm actually kind of happy about this trade. If we're utilized right. And if I'm everybody else, I don't want to see Boston if they're utilizing themselves right. Because when you're talking about a lineup of Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Brown, then you add Ball, but then you also decide to add Taco Falls, and you get a Ball-Falls combination or Falls-Balls? Have you ever had Balls-Falls on your chest? But can you imagine their defense being anchored by Ball, and Taco Falls? You're talking about two guys well over 7 feet tall, well over 7'3". And now you have them protecting your paint. Strong side, weak side, strong side, weak side, strong side, weak side. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. So, that's one trade. Like I said, if you're one of these other teams, New York, Brooklyn, Miami, LA, Philly, you could have went over Ball for what they gave him for him. I'm looking at you, the Knicks, that could use an extra center. But now, can you just imagine that? Because with Ball, and Taco Fall, you don't have to worry about two guys taking up the middle. Ball can stretch all the way out. He's a stretch 5. Let Taco Fall function in the middle. But defensively, oh man. Can you just imagine? You basically just play a zone. You play a loose 3-2. Have those guys pillar in the paint. Like the Twin Towers from back in the days. The actual buildings, and also what used to be Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Like, you get that back. And you're able to suddenly be a completely different defensive identity. So if I'm Boston fans, like, yeah, you know what? I'm actually kind of happy about this trade. Now you just gotta hope that they get utilized right, because if you're not utilizing all that size, if you have all of that size at your disposal, and you're not utilizing your size correctly, then why the fuck do you have all that size for? Why did you acquire it? If you weren't going to use it to its best potential, folks. And talk about utilizing your size to its best potential. Don't forget that you can get yourself a free order of Blue Chew by using this week's promo code of WGKH. That's Whiskey Golf Kilo Hotel. Yes, folks. Free order of Blue Chew for free on me. All you gotta do is pay for shipping and handling with our promo code. Want me to say that again for you? WGKH. Whiskey Golf Kilo Hotel. So yeah, if they're not utilizing those two guys from a defensive standpoint, even from an offensive standpoint, can you imagine them on the pick and roll, pick and pop? Then that's gonna be the only thing. But let's continue to keep an eye on Boston. Let's see. For a couple of games, we're just gonna watch them and see if they utilize both of these guys. Now, folks, we said that Sacramento should actually beat the brakes off of the Detroit Pistons. It doesn't look like that is currently the state right now. Detroit currently are up right now on the Sacramento Kings 35-27, and just a little over 11 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Both of these teams kind of suck, so I thought Sacramento Kings sucked the less. But maybe that's what they thought too, and maybe they didn't come in here full effort. Now, also on his way back from injury, folks, is
this your game? Huh?
one Derrick Henry.
Is this your game? Huh?
As he returns to the Tennessee Titans just in time for them to have their first playoff game of this season. Folks, as you know, the Tennessee Titans end up winning the number 1 spot, so they end up having a bye last week. And they got to sit back and they got to watch everybody else play and prepare for whoever was coming their way. And coming their way happened to be the 10-7 Cincinnati Bengals, led behind a smoking Joe Burrow. Oh, I see my rookie. I see Davion Mitchell. Let's hope things pick up now. We can get a little bit more defense and get a couple of fast break score and get Sacramento back into this game. Sacramento has already taken 14 free throws this game already, folks, and they only have 28 points. That's half of their points from the free throw line. Been there 17 times, made 14. Detroit has taken 11 attempts, made 9 of this. Made 9 of them, folks. That's a lot of free throw shooting to be done in this game, folks. So it looks like the referees may be calling this tight early. Now, like I said, the Tennessee Titans are going to be matching up against smoking Joe Burrow, the 10-7 smoking Joe Burrow led Cincinnati Bengals. As we told you guys something last week, that the Cincinnati Bengals last week, they end up pulling off very weird history, folks. where for the first time ever in history, we got the first tweets and social media messages ever about a Cincinnati Bengal playoff victory. Also, we got the first text messages sent ever about a Cincinnati Bengals playoff victory, folks. Yes, the first in both categories, text and social media. The Cincinnati Bengals are trying not to make that their last. Folks, as we said, like Tennessee Titans, if they come back and they get their workhorse Derrick Henry, King Henry as they like to call him.
Is this your king? Huh?
As this game oddly looks like from the surface, an air raid attack versus ground and pound. You get Smoking Joe Burrow, where 2 out of his last 4 games, he ended up putting up over 500 yards of offense in each of the games, 1,000 yards of offense between 2 games, putting up ridiculous numbers, ridiculous touchdowns, having Jamar Chase put up breaking the all-time receiving record for a rookie. They was just doing incredible things, and they're gonna go up against the Tennessee Titans. And this is when we're gonna really get the test here, right? Where a couple of these games is really about who are you to step into the position that I'm trying to take. The Tennessee Titans have been here a couple of years now. They've been disappointed here a couple of years now. And if you had to ask me, who do I trust more, Ryan Tannehill or Smoking Joe Burrow, it's going to be Smoking Joe Burrow. But if you ask me who do I trust better, King Henry or Smoking Joe Burrow, it's King Henry. So I'm anticipating that this is going to be one of those games where who do we get more of? Do we get more Derrick Henry or do we get more Jamar Chase? Do we get more Smoking Joe Burrow or do we get more than that Ryan Tannehill? See, those are 2 different things. If we get more Ryan Tannehill, they're probably losing this game. If we're getting more Derrick Henry, they're probably winning this game. But for Cincinnati, we never know. If we're getting more Jamar Chase, they could be winning or losing this game. And they don't just have an air raid attack. They're not just these bombers. They have a good ground and pound as well. They just got to find a way to get that quarterback more time sometimes. But Smoking Joe Burrow ain't scared. He ain't never scared. He ain't never scared. Tennessee should win this game in my eye, to be honest with you. They should win this game because they've been here more times before. They're only going to number 1 team, but they've been constantly trying to get themselves back here because they're the team that they're trying to say, you know what? We're better than Buffalo. We're better than Kansas City. We can move on. So you shouldn't get derailed by a first-timer like Cincinnati, but Cincinnati is a hell of a first-timer. I'm going Tennessee, but I ain't confident. Because of San Francisco and Green Bay, I'm going Green Bay. Jimmy G is such an interesting... Actually, before we even get there, right? Because the King did return, right? Talk about King Henry return. But in between King Henry's return, Dak Prescott also decided that he needed to apologize. And rightfully so, he did. Right? And what he did is that he apologized for the statements that he made that may have promoted referee violence or violence on referees. And I know it was just something simple about throwing stuff at the referees, but we already know that referees get the shit end of the stick anyway. They get verbally berated by players, fans, and every single entity during the game, before the game, and after the game. Like I said, if you're from a small town, we've heard stories of referees literally getting almost chased by people in their city because of calls that they have made, or having to be escorted to their car and allowed to leave first before anybody else can, just so they can feel like that they can get home safe. shortly after Dak Prescott made the comments that that it's okay for you to go ahead and throw trash at the referees because they made a bunch of shitty calls instead of us taking ownership for what he did. And like I said, he was emotional, but we get it, right? But we still gonna call it how it is. Dak Prescott apologized, but not before the NBA Referees Association. Yeah, we have an NBA Players Association. We have an NBA Coaches Association. We have an NBA Owners Association. Yes, we have an NBA Referees Association too. You know who doesn't have a referee association? The NFL. Also because the referees aren't on full time. They're part-time guys. True or false? Let's see. On January 1st, a new California law took effect requiring... I couldn't see that. So the NFL Referees Association came out and made a statement and added NFL and the Commissioner Roger Goodell obviously, and said that Dak Prescott needs to be punished for his reckless comments that promoted violence against referees. And in a weird way, I don't see the lie here from the NBA Referees Association, because like I said, you guys, like these guys on the professional level, may feel safe, right? And they may still, and even if they're just continuously just getting some food or drink, stuff like that being thrown, their money shouldn't be doing that. They're humans too, and sometimes they're not even treated as human. They're less humanized than players are. But it's not even so much about the professional ones, right? It's about the college ones or the high school ones in that no-name town that gets no coverage that we don't hear about until something bad happens. It's about what happens overseas in soccer, where they have beheaded referees and left their head on the field on a pike kind of shit. So I know some of you might think like, it's just it's a no nothing comment by Dak. Nah, it meant something. Because remember, Dak plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He's one of the biggest influencers as a quarterback position that you can get in the NFL or in sports because he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. When he talks, people listen. And if Dak Prescott come out here and promotes violence on referees, then guess what's going to happen? There's going to be an uptick in violence against referees because Dak said it was okay. An NFL player said it was okay. A professional athlete said it was okay. And you know, not everybody has self-thought. A lot of us suffer from group thought or group think, or as you like to call it a lot of times, peer pressure. So Dak definitely needed to apologize for his comments against the referees. What he also should have apologized was for that game that he had against the San Francisco 49ers and how they lost that game, and for him not having any whereabouts of clock management or his team being penalized 13 different times. The most in a playoff game in that playoff game setting. And the team that they would lose to San Francisco 49ers is going to go on to take on the Green Bay Packers. Right, 10-7 San Francisco 49ers against the 13-4 Green Bay Packers. And this is one of those games. I'm taking Green Bay to pick. I'm taking Green Bay to win. But again, this is the reason why these teams are here. The surprise is not really there. Jimmy G knows how to win. There's one thing that he is, and that is an absolute winner. You saw them beat the Cowboys, but there's one thing that we knew about the Cowboys too. The Cowboys are soft. There's one thing that we constantly hear about Cowboys players, that they're soft. They come off soft and entitled. And it's been well known for a good decade plus, maybe even 2 decades, that if you get a little physical with any one of these Dallas Cowboys teams, they start to shrink in that moment. You don't think your division rivalry San Francisco 49ers know that? You don't think a great coach in Shanahan knows that? Thank you. Now, even though Jimmy G just always finds a way to come up with victories, I don't know if they're gonna come up with a victory against Green Bay. Green Bay needs this victory. A lot of these teams need this victory. These home teams need these victories this week. They really do. They really do. Because in the Sunday games, we got a lot of prove-it games, right? We have a lot of, and it's not just the Sunday games, right? In a weird way, Cincinnati is in this position when it comes to Tennessee. And San Francisco in this position when it comes to Green Bay. Just like the Rams are in this position when it comes to Tampa Bay. And Buffalo's in the same position when it comes to Kansas City. These are prove-it games. Like, when it comes to the Rams in Tampa Bay, this is the reason why you got Matthew Stafford. Buffalo, they've been building around Josh Allen for these games to beat Kansas City. The Rams are trying to beat Tampa Bay. Folks, these games are the games where Tampa Bay comes out, where Kansas City comes out, and they say to their opponent,
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
and for the guys in Cincinnati, listen, they extended. You know what's funny, right? Because for the people in Cincinnati, the guys in Tennessee are saying something very specific, right? They're saying something very, very, very specific, and honestly, it comes from the fuck. Oh no! Something just happened here. What just happened? What just happened? Oh no! 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 Damn it! Hold on. I just did something weird. Okay. Oh, this is about to end in just about 2 minutes, folks. That's what's happening here. So, as you guys are well aware, what we like to do is we're going to go ahead and switch over the time. But actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and end this the way that let's go ahead and end this in the next 2 minutes. These Sunday games, right, are basically prove-it games. This is the reason why you got Matthew Stafford. It's for the LA Rams to be over the hump. This is why you got Odell Beckham Jr. This is why you got this is why you got all of those extra pieces on defense to add to Aaron Donald. Like you got them for this reason because Tom Brady, regardless of how well he plays, Tom Brady is still a man. Tom Brady is still just a quarterback. And like every other man or every other quarterback, if he doesn't have time to throw, or if you make him look uncomfortable in that box, you can beat him. If you can take away his time to throw, you can beat him. If you have him tap dancing in that paint, you can beat him. It is always said this about Tom Brady, and yet you just have to be able to get there. The LA Rams have the people to get there, and they feel like they have the quarterback now to be able to match the offensive firepower with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Buffalo has been doing everything just to beat Kansas City. These are prove-it games this week because, like Kansas City, who already has their championship, is saying, and like Tampa Bay, who already have their championship, is saying,
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
he's standing right there. To beat a man, you gotta beat the man. And the two men from the last couple of years, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, they play on Sunday. San Francisco and Green Bay play on Saturday. Cincinnati and Tennessee plays on Saturday. Either way, we're going to be glued into our televisions after 3 o'clock on both days. Folks, that's about it for the Mighty Sports Podcast. We will catch you again live Friday night. Anybody that's been listening, if you've been trying to hear any of these issues that we may have incurred, I do apologize, but I do appreciate you guys hustling and making it through, folks. Ultimately, I hope you continue to catch a wave that never subsides, and I will also like for my DJ to play the outro so I can stop rambling.
Sorry, B. I tried. Honest. All the bandwidth in the world couldn't keep me contained. No lag, no lag. Gonna share my talents with Podbean Live. Always knew I'd take the pod there. Just a lot later than a lot of listeners thought. Last of the real gabbers. Well, maybe not the last. Munchkin got good mic skills. New, improved MyT podcaster. Potted down now. Last call for drinks. Bars closing. Sun's out. Heard the casino got a buffet breakfast. Don't want to go far. Wild night. Tired, B. Tired. MyT
Sports.